Gets people going. Knock knock. Edu Manzana. I decided long ago never to walk with Edu Manzano. Wait, I have a good sense of humor. I love cracking jokes and making fun of things, sometimes even about myself. And more often than not, the jokes start with a knock knock. It's exactly what I asked my friends when I was running late to Seb's Cafe on the night of Fête de la Musique last year. When they arrived, I burst through the doors, winded, out of breath, sweating, and trying to catch up with myself. But as soon as I did, I was bombarded with a barrage of hands held up high for fives, arms open with hugs of hello, and soft cheek kisses of, how are you? Being the polite and cautious person that I am, I promptly responded to each greeting by saying, there's a really cute girl over there. Sometimes I spew random babble just to make people laugh. My friends know this to be true. But they also know that the words that slip through these loose lips are more often than not honest and heartfelt. And that's because I know how to appreciate things. And people, for that matter. So they looked in the general direction I was staring and saw the girl in question sitting in the front row. Round face, short hair, no glasses, smiling eyes. And they nodded in agreement. You should go talk to her, they told me. But I shrugged it off, saying I'm terribly shy. When really I was thinking, I hope she's not a lesbian. I drifted through the night, diving into a waterfall of words while skilled musicians plucked at my heartstrings. Each struck chords sent me farther and farther into the background until finally I was by the bar. With my back against the wall and nowhere to go, I figured it was just as good a time as any to pick myself up and go talk to her. So I took a deep breath, shook off whatever inhibitions I had, put one step in front of the other, and got walking. I was barely a foot away, my hand nearly on her shoulder when she stood up and made her way to the exit. Right then I felt like I was in a sitcom, just waiting for Ashton Kutcher to jump out of the sidelines and yell, "You've been punked!" But I knew that wasn't going to happen, so I sucked it up and made a mad dash around the room. The door was closing, both literally and figuratively, so I knew I had to hurry. I made it just in the nick of time, wedging my fingers in between the door and its frame. But that's not the way it happened. I made it with a lot of time to spare, but had to make it look dramatic in case anyone saw me running. Needless to say, I caught up with her by the steps of the cafe, said hello, and that is how we met. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of words and wonder. Neither of us believed in one completing the other, so instead we shared our time. Traded thoughts. Mailed each other messages with no option to return to send them. What I enjoyed the most about all this was how we were both actively participating in some unspoken intergalactic Easter egg hunt, leaving clues behind for one another to find. What I enjoyed the most about all this was how one time over Facebook I posted a stat that went, "Let me apologize in advance, because I will immortalize you through my writing." And a few days later, she posted a photo on Instagram with a quote by Henry Miller that went, and take note, there are only three things you can do to a woman. You can love her, suffer for her, or turn her to literature. And I did all three, in no specific order. We were Sherlock Holmes and Irene Adler. We loved playing games and running circles around the other, but without the intent to destroy. Truth be told, her name on my phone is The Woman, with a matching ringtone that goes a little like this. Well, on her phone, I was Holmes. And till this day, I find that funny. Because every time she would call me Holmes, I would immediately cancel out the S at the end because I knew that was the closest to being her home that I would ever get. But people saw how closely our Venn diagrams intersected and overlapped that they thought we were as close to perfect as perfect could get. But I'm not the kind of guy who believes in perfect. I figured all of this was just some big practical joke set up by the universe, and at that moment, I was in the very center. Then, one night by the bay, as we watched boats bob up and down on still waters, I told her I loved her. But she was scared. Scared that one day after weeks of not seeing each other, we would finally meet up, exchange our highs and lows, and find that things just weren't the same. So I pulled her in closer, held her a little tighter, and softly whispered, "Let's just enjoy this until that time comes." As things turned out, we agreed this time. And I knew the clues she was leaving behind were for somebody else because they were no longer things I could relate to. But what I'm thankful for is that the last time we met up was the same as every other. Still the same warm hugs, the same pressure on my palm, the same softness of her lips on mine. But that was the night we didn't say goodbye. It went more like a that's that, followed by a nod. And then I smiled, knowing that the punchline had finally caught up with me. And then I laughed, because I have a good sense of humor. I love cracking jokes and making fun of things, sometimes even about myself. Even when sometimes the joke goes, knock knock.